Okay, I apologize, guys. I tried to do the noise reduction thing, but the current build of Sneedacity wasn't quite letting me add that in. But here you go. So, remarkable thing. I was talking with my mom earlier about some things and kind of the difference in preparedness mindedness of people, and how basically how some people that we know are preparedness minded differently than others. And as I was reflecting on that, it really hit me about the kind of the different attitude that I have towards some of it and the way I see some of it that I have. So, like, I've talked about my backpack and a couple other things. And so when talking to my mom about it, I'm like, I know I got a couple of toys in the backpack, hydration pack and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, no. Those are preparedness items. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, but I see it this way, kind of. I mean, yeah, I bought it for the functionality, but it's also kind of a toy for me. And that's really the difference that I see some things as. Yes, I know the utilitarian reason for it, and that's kind of one of the big reasons that I pick some stuff up, is because of the utility and the preparedness aspect of it. But at the same time, there's also a little bit of a toy aspect in it. It's a new toy. How am I going to mess with it and play with it? How am I going to experiment with it? So, like, for example, the backpack. I mean, yes, it can hold a lot. That's the utilitarian aspect of it. I can, like, pack a crap ton of things into it, and it'll be fine. It's got a lot of other cool bells and whistles to it, too. But there's also the fun little toy aspect of toying around with it and tinkering with how I have it set up so that it's effective for everyday use. And that's kind of the difference in the fun aspect, is being able to mess around with it and toy with it. And that's kind of where my mindset is different, because it's like, yeah, I do have multiple times where, like, so my viewing on YouTube kind of goes through cycles. And so there's usually a phase that's somewhere in there where I'm like browsing through, just watching a bunch of bushcrafty stuff and like preparednessy, survivally kitty type stuff and stuff like that. And that kind of also plays into the whole aspect of like the whole little like toy thing, that like I'm always looking at that kind of stuff every so often, and it kind of refreshes on my mind every so often. But yes, I do have that mindset of like, okay, kind of looking down the road and not just like at the immediate future, but at the same time, like, well, if I buy this item, how can I use it in the immediate future, but also have it for that future use? So, I mean, there are still things that I'm looking at now that's like, okay, and there are some things that I'm looking at dropping off the list of items that I've been looking at. But for the most part, it is, okay, how am I going to use this item? What am I going to do with it? How is it going to be useful for me? Is it really going to be an investment, or is it going to be an expense? And so I kind of play out how it's going to be that way. But sometimes it sits in my tabs of purchases for a while before it's like, maybe not. Maybe later. Not now. Not anymore. So it just kind of hangs out for a little bit, and then if it kind of wears off, it drops out. It's kind of like when I'm going through the store, like I'll pick something up, it's like, this item can be used like this, this, and this, and then after holding it for a bit, it just kind of feels off. But for the most part, when the attitude that I have is, yeah, it's kind of a toy. It's like, okay, how can I explore with this? When I'm messing with my Steam controller or with my configs on my computer, it's like, okay, what kind of cool new toy aspect can I add that is also utilitarian? And it's that most of those items, yes, it's like, well, I'm not complaining about you buying those items because they're useful in preparednessy stuff. And it's like, yeah, but Mom, they're toys. You don't get it. If you're not going to enjoy what you're buying, what's the point of buying it? So that's kind of where I sit on some of that, and why. And I also add it as a business expense otherwise, because I can. So yeah, just rambling, just thinkings of a madman. Yeah, Discord, that kind of thing, links, whatnot. Help me buy more toys that I can make you aware of. The backpack was really cool. The hydro pack was really cool. And I mean, the infuse hydro is especially really cool. So yeah, I've bought more water enhancer flavor things to mess around with it. So just barely. So no guilty conscience there, I swear. Anyway, have a good one.